little piece.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and welcome. It's Nurse Richard the Wax Wizard. You're not going to believe this one. You're not going to believe it. Stay tuned to the end. See if you can figure out what it is on the way. Now, saw that the first day, the second day of this really confused me. This when I looked at that, thought it looked slimy, maybe some creamy discharge, and also some black areas there. So one of my first thoughts was, is this a fungal infection with all that black mould that you can tend to get sometimes in a creamy discharge that you get with a certain type of fungal infection? It wasn't. And you won't believe what it was, which we only figured out later. We had some ideas halfway through what it could be, or what they could be. There was three, let's call them mystery objects, that we found in this young man's ear, and it was a young man. How on earth did they get there? We did find out later, and did come clean as well. So this lady brought a son along to see me who'd been having terrible trouble, God bless him, and having a lot of pain, not in this ear, believe it or not, but a lot of pain in the other ear, so much so that he'd been off school as well. Hello to you both, if you're watching, by the way. Thanks for giving me permission to share this. I know a lot of viewers will find this extremely interesting, as did we. It was quite an eventful appointment. I'll get onto that a bit later. Now I'm trying to move the dark area there behind, let's call it, and it's just not able to get past this other one. Now it's a bit of an odd spot for something to end up here, just tucked in around that bend. A bit tricky to get to. It's the finding tube that I'm using here because it is a small child and it's a small ear, and I'm trying to keep the noise down. Makes it a bit fiddly to get out, but I realised I can't get that dark one out there until we get this smaller mystery object out first. So it wasn't too difficult to get a grip of once I finally got it and lifted it up and have a look at that. And my first thought was, is it a swimming plug, like a silicone swimming plug that's been broken off? Because I did find one of those not that long ago. I think the video is called Unbelievable. It's still in there because it had been in there years, that particular one. Now, as soon as we got the first one out, the second one came out fairly easily. A lot darker this, so you're thinking, just is it a hard ball of earwax? And as we got it out, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put it on the tray and I'll zoom into it. It's not a hard ball of earwax. You might figure out already what it is, because I just looked at it and thought, that's not hardened earwax. That you can see an edge on it there, can't you? It doesn't normally end up like that. And so what I did, I picked it up. You might hear the audio in the background, and I tapped it on the tray behind the chair. There you go. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I don't know.
And I said, that's not earwax. Earwax doesn't make that noise. Some do if it's incredibly hard. So we can already see the eardrum there, and we've got all this, what is earwax and dead skin around the edges here. A little bit of a peel as well, this. Now that's obviously happened because it's been trapped behind those mystery objects in there. So we'll just get away what we can from there. I mean, all the rest of this stuff here, it's a bit of a bonus, but quite a thick layer of dead skin that came out here, as you can see. You can just see that peeling all the way down. So already the eardrum looked absolutely fine. It didn't in the other one, as you'll see when we come on to that quite shortly. So I'll just have a little bit of a tidy up. Need to leave a little bit of the oily substance there just around the edges. That's there to protect you. So we don't want to scoop away every little thing in there. Just a bit of a tidy up. I have heard back from him since, and he's doing very well now. He's doing A-OK. So again, just a bit of residue around the outside there. Just going to tidy up that little bit there. Have any of you figured out what they are yet, by the way? You'll probably already realise what they are, but what you won't know, until I tell you, is where they've come from and how they've got there. There's the eardrum there.
Right, here it comes.
Now here's this one again, which I thought, oh, is it this creamy fungal black mould that you can often find? I quickly realised that after the first two that it's not. It's a pattern on this object. So you can see there's a thick layer of dead skin underneath that. Now this here was clearly infected. There was a lot of humidity in this, a lot of warmth, a lot of moisture, and this is the one that was giving me a lot of pain, you know. It settled down late that day, but have a look at that there. Can you just see the red pinky area on there? Then I think that's fresh granulation tissue. That now, what's that? The stone is. I've given it away, haven't I? It's been like adhering to the canal wall, and the canal wall in response to that, it's been it's got granulation tissue there, which is like an inflammatory response. So you get this little fleshy lump that's attached to it. And it had left kind of a little, what looks like a small, be a hematoma, which is another word for a blood blister on the base of the ear canal. It's quite difficult to get a good look at this because it was so humid, it just steamed up every single time I went in, even with the suction tube in there. But you can just about see it on the base of the ear canal where it's red, very wet and soggy in the distance there, can't you? Now that there was just a little bit of granulation tissue that I think fell off the object on the way out. And I'm just going to go and explore that there. So I just want to see what's under that little soggy bit there, and I can see that's the possibly a little bit of a bruise, a little bit of bleeding after that object's been removed. And here they are, all three of them. You figured out what they are yet? That's right, they are stones. And now the first, when I figured it out, after the first two, and then we had to think, how on earth have they got in there? Where have they come from? How have they got in there? Now children are known to put anything in anywhere quite commonly, and I did ask after I took the third one out, you might have heard on the audio, I said, have you got a fish tank? Because one of them looked quite decorative, quite a bit of a pattern on. Here they are, they've been washed, they've been cleaned, and they said no, they hadn't had a fish tank. Apparently grandma has a fish tank, but we don't think he's been in there to get them to get these things and put them in his ear. Turns out he admitted later on, and I kind of knew it when I was asking him about it, because he was kind of smirking and being a bit coy and a bit shy. He was just clearly too embarrassed to tell me. But Mum told me later on that he admitted that he'd picked some stones up from the road and just put them in his ear. Why? Who knows? But hey. Sometimes when you could just, why not, just to see what happens. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that, found it interesting. But for now, take care of yourself, and I will see you later. Ta-da.